Okay, today we are going to talk about functions. Now, there's lots of functions here, and we're actually just going to talk about some linear functions. And we're first actually going to talk about function notation. And this makes some people really nervous, and even some people in higher high school math have a difficult time when I say something like f of, by the way, parentheses are kind of like an of, so f of x equals 2x plus 3, and g of x equals 9 minus 2x. All right. Now, they see, oh no, now we don't have just x's, but we got f's and g's and all these other things, and it makes people really nervous. So, something that you just have to understand here is, okay, first part, this x right here is just telling you what variable is in the function. That's all it's doing. It's just telling you that's the variable in the function. All right? Then this letter out here is just the name of the function. So we could call this one Frank. And we could call this one George. Okay, so imagine for a minute that if you had two uncles, all right, one was named Uncle Frank and the other one was named Uncle George. If you went to Uncle Frank and you gave him $1, okay, for every dollar you gave him, he would go, I'm going to take that dollar, I'm going to go times 2 and then add 3. And you're like, ooh, that's sweet. And so you decided that you were going to go to Uncle Frank and give him $5. That's what that means. So that means that you are going to go, okay, 2 times 5, because the 5 is going to go in place of the x, plus 3. So that's 10 plus 3, that's 13. So you give him $5, he gives you $13 back. That is an awesome deal. And so I'd be giving him $5 all day long. In fact, I'd give him $5, and I'd give him $13, then I'd give him whatever the other answer is, and stuff like that. Okay, but then you got the Uncle George. And Uncle George, if you gave him $5, he would say, hey, I'm going to give you 9 minus 2 times whatever you gave me, so 2 times 5. Well, ooh, wow, I'm not a great mathematician, but this is not looking as good here. So 9 minus 10, because remember in PEMDAS we got to go do the multiplication first. So 9 minus 10, that's negative 1. So then we would end up losing an extra $1. So if we give him 5, I guess we got to give him another one. That doesn't seem like a good deal. Now, if we only gave him $1, let's just take a look at that real quick. If we gave George $1, then it would be 9 minus 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. Well, that would be pretty awesome then. Give him $1. Get 7. I wonder what would happen if we gave Frank $1. So I'm going to go up here to Frank real quick. And in fact, I'm going to have to just kind of erase a little bit there. So if we gave Frank $1, then that would be 2 times 1 plus 3. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2. Then a plus 3 is 5. Equals 5. So if we're only giving them like $1, it's better to actually give it to George than it is to Frank. But if we are giving them $5, it's better to give it to Frank than it is to George. I kind of hope that makes a little bit of sense. So, but this is function notation. Okay, everything I wrote on the board, except for the words Frank and George, is function notation. The first letter just tells you what function we're using. So these two in red are just saying we're using Frank. And the two in green are just saying we're using George. Or in other words, we're using F and we're using G. Then the thing inside the parentheses just tells you what you are going to put in place of the variable. And so on f of 5 just means we're going to take the number 5, we're going to substitute it in place of the x in the f function. Now, you might end up with a situation like this. In fact, not might, you will end up with a situation like this. Let's use the function Harry. So h of x. And in h of x, it says that we're going to do 4 times x plus 3 minus 2x. Now, this is just like any other. Even though you're looking up there going, ooh, there's an x there, there's an x there, and wow, don't know what to do now. Well, okay, so we come over here and we say, all right, I want to know what h of 3 is. Now, again, that means that we're putting a 3 into the function h, Harry. And so anywhere that you see an x, put a 3 in there instead. So I'm going to go, okay, 4 times, parenthesis, and I'm just going to put it in there in red, a 3, okay, then we still got our other plus 3 from there, so plus 3, close parenthesis, minus 2 times, and I'll put another 3 in there. All right, so we got to do PEMDAS here. That's probably one of the harder parts, is that if we do PEMDAS, well, we got to start in parentheses. So we're going to have 4 times 3 plus 3 is 6. So 6 minus 2 times 3. I'll just write that down for a second. 2 times 3. Then let's see, we got to do multiplication division because there's no exponents here. So multiplication means that this becomes a 24 minus, and this becomes a 6. And then we can do addition and subtraction. So 24 minus 6 is 18. Now, this is about it. We might get a little bit further into function notation, and then you eventually might see something that says, oh, we're going to use 2 or even 3 functions altogether. But you're going to find out that is not very hard. In fact, it's not very hard at all. So, right now, this is about it. This is a good introduction to functions. So hopefully, if I give you functions to do, you can just cruise over there and plug in the right number for x, whether you have to plug it in once, twice, or 20 times. Plug in the right number for x, and then evaluate, and you'll be all done. All right, see you in class.